How do you know when someone is qualified to serve on a jury or not? Well, in just a minute, I'll explain how lawyers address that issue. There is a process in trial called voir dire. Voir dire means in French to speak the truth. You may hear it mispronounced as voir dire. What that essentially means is before a case is tried to a jury, a group of people called the Vanier, that's the collection of jurors or juror candidates that are being summoned. The Vanier is summoned into a room, and the lawyers who are going to try the case get to ask them questions. Normally the plaintiff, or in the case of a criminal case, the state, gets to go first, and it gets to ask questions related to the discovery of biases. Now, in doing this, the court allows some leeway, but before a lawyer can tackle that problem, he will get the questionnaires from the court which hold the information about what these people have done, what their jobs were, some very basic information. For example, it might say that Mary Smith was a baker. She worked at the local bakery for 25 years. She's retired. And that's probably all the information that they're going to have on Miss Smith. But they know that she was employed, and they know that she is retired. So that gives them some information about what they may do in a particular case. Now, obviously, in a criminal case, one of the first things that happens is anybody who's related to law enforcement has to come off. If someone's husband or brother or uncle is a police officer, you probably don't want that person trying your criminal case because they may have a subtle bias, a subtle prejudice against criminal defendants. And no, while a lot of people are guilty when they come into court, a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are not guilty of the charges that are brought against them. So, in many instances, you want somebody who can be fair. You don't want somebody who's harboring a bias that they don't talk about. So one of the things that lawyers do, and this has become very common now, is they go and they search the Facebook pages and Twitter for all of the individuals who have been selected for the Vanier. So even though there may be 60 or 70 people in this group of people who are summoned to be jurors, they will go through and pull the information they can find on the internet about those people to see if they can develop some idea about their biases and their beliefs. So, for example, if somebody has a strong Republican background or conservative background and they talk about these kinds of things on Facebook, that may be a clue that they are a good juror for the defense or possibly a bad juror for the plaintiff. What really counts is not whether or not somebody has some pre-existing beliefs about guilt or innocence, or about whether or not someone should be liable or not liable for an injury. What matters is whether or not they can listen to the evidence and base their decision on the evidence, not on their biases. It's a difficult job to root out that kind of bias and that kind of prejudice. But it is amazing how straightforward people can be when they're told that, really, if you wouldn't want you on this kind of case, you probably shouldn't be on this kind of case. Several years ago, I was trying a nursing home case in Missouri, and I had all my questions down, and I went all the way through. And one of the things that I always tell jurors is, look, if you have something you don't want to talk about in front of 70 people you have no knowledge of, 70 of your closest non-friends, that you can come up afterwards and talk to the lawyers and the judge in private. So a gentleman came up at the end of my voir dire, and he said, there was a question you didn't ask. And I said, what was that? He said, well, you asked if people worked for nursing homes or had anybody who worked for nursing homes, but I've actually invested in several nursing homes. I've got money tied up in them, and I don't think I would be a good juror for your case. His honesty saved me possibly having to remove him for cause later on. And so the judge dismissed him, and he was able to go about his day. But that is the process of juror selection. One of the things that jurors look for is body language. Is somebody sitting there like this when you're talking? Or are they open and interested? Are they leaning forward, trying to listen to what's being said? It's very important for lawyers to get a good jury and a fair jury. That doesn't always happen, but it happens more often than most people realize. The fact of the matter is the jury system in the United States is really the last safeguard of your freedom. It is the last thing that stands between you and an oppressive government. Jurors are asked to do that duty every day in this country, and not enough of them get credit for it. So, if you're selected for jury duty, go tell the truth, and if you're selected to the jury, try that case and listen to that case and make the decision that the evidence requires you to make. If you found this information helpful, I would hope that you would smash that like button because it helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And also click on the subscribe icon and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I complete a video and post it on here. Thank you so much for watching, and have a terrific day.